Hey there. I just wanted to give you some extra simple tools to handle everyday misbehaviors with. If you feel like you're constantly correcting, reminding, or repeating yourself all day long, this video is for you. Because most everyday misbehavior is not about your child not listening. It's not about something that needs a big diagnosis. It is showing you something deeper, and I can help. Before we even get into the tools, I want you to understand this, that we are not just trying to stop behavior. We want to build executive functioning skills. We want our child to be able to think, to stop before they do something, to control their impulses, think before acting, problem solving, self-awareness. All of that is things that we want. And when our kids are struggling a lot with behavior, we focus on that. Like, oh, they're just so impulsive, or they don't have any awareness of anybody around them. And that's not random. That is something that we have to teach our kids, and they are showing you exactly where the lags are. So instead of reacting, I want you to think about prompting them to think. And it's going to happen differently than maybe how you've been taught. Like when we try to lecture our kids and be like, what were you thinking? Kind of conversations, or they just don't get it. You know, when you leave feeling that way, that's not helping. We really go after kids in their frontal lobe, and we try to address the problems by talking a lot, lecturing, explaining, getting them to tell us what they should have done. And it's not helping them to develop the skills that they need. One of the most powerful ways that we're going to do this is how you respond in the moment. And that's the hardest too, right? Because when you're like, what were you thinking? It's really hard to get ourselves in the right place. But you can use these tools and play around with them, and you're not going to do any harm. You may find that they're not working for you, and it may be because you need to tweak it a little bit, but or you may need more help than what these tools give you, but these are fun to kind of play around with. So, first tool, short, simple truth statements. Instead of stop that, don't do that, be careful, look out, wait, hold on. Instead, I want you to think about what the consequence is. You might fall and hurt yourself. Someone could get hurt. That's too loud, it hurts my ears. So we're not making a demand that then we're going to have to force them to listen to somehow, or force them to ignore us somehow. You're just giving them simple truth statements. No lecture, no over-explaining, no extra words. Just something very simple. So think, when they're doing something, why is it you want them to stop? And that's the part you're going to go to. Instead of telling them to stop, you're going to say, that's hurting my ears, right? You're going to pause. Give your child a minute to think. No repeating, no nagging, and no pressing. And that's the hard part, because when your kid is processing it, that's when parents say it again or want some kind of response. And we got to give them a minute. And we're just throwing something out there. So we're not married to this. We're just throwing it out there, and we can be very casual. You can be very calm. You need to be very calm, because you're not making a demand. You're not over excited, right? You're just very calm. You're not forcing compliance. You're building the ability to pause and process. Okay, tool number 2, questions that prompt thinking. And because you've listened to me before, that I usually don't recommend questions. The questions that we ask kids can make them really upset. And these are different questions, okay? These are low pressure thinking questions. They are not about getting an answer. They are not to trap your child, to find out who done it, right? To see if they're lying to you. That's not here. We're not here to create a power struggle. We're just going to prompt awareness. And so you're going to say things like, who made this mess? I wonder who's being unkind right now. Who's being mean? And here's the key. You say it calmly. It's like a statement. and then you leave it. And that's the hardest part in both of these tools, right? Is the just leaving it. You got to give them a minute to process it. If they're going to think, most of the time, the kids that I'm helping you with are in the back of their brain. The processing's getting stuck somewhere and they're not bringing it forward. And so we're just helping them to learn how to think. Say it calmly and then leave it. You're not waiting for a response. They don't have to give you a response on this. You're just giving their brain something to process. And it also is just like, you already know the answer. You know who made the mess. You know they're being mean. You don't have to convince them. You don't have to, get into it with them. You're just making the comment and then watch what happens. You got to try it. It's so amazing. Third tool, you're going to give a task instead of focusing on the problem. So when kids are whining or complaining or stuck or they don't want to do something, talking about that behavior doesn't help. Why are you whining? Stop whining. And sometimes even asking them to say it a different way isn't going to help. You have no way to help them with that. But a task, it can shift everything. You could say, go feed the dog, and then we'll talk about lunch. Not if they're whining about feeding the dog, but if they're whining about lunch, you're going to say, you know what, the dog's hungry. Go feed the dog, and then we'll talk about lunch. Or come help me make your food. Come over here and do this with me. Or let's do this together. And so you're giving them a task to do. And I love it because these simple tasks actually help regulate the brain, and it shifts the attention and it breaks the pattern of what's happening. And remember, we're not forcing it. We're not doing anything to escalate a power struggle. We're letting them think about it. It's going to take them a minute. It's very hard if you're having an attitude to just change your attitudes. That's why sometimes I'll even give kids a task to go wash your hands and face, and then we'll talk about this. So we're giving them a first and a then. And we're not being pushy about it, and we're not expecting them to do that. I mean, they may stomp all the way to the bathroom, but the washing the hands and face is what turns it around. And I've seen this even work with teenagers. So you're moving them out of the stuck moment into the action. These are really simple tools. They're not super complicated, but they only work if you can really work on you being calm and clear and not getting emotionally pulled in. Don't worry if you make some mistakes. Your kids are going to give you lots of chances to try again. And you're not trying to control every behavior. You are helping your child learn how to think. And it doesn't matter what age they are. If they are having meltdowns, if they are super defiant, they have some lags in their executive functioning, and they are not as emotionally mature as they need to be yet. So we got to stop expecting them to be, and we need to help them to get there. So we got to help them learn how to think. This actually changes things in the long term. If you want support applying this in real life, that's exactly what I do. At parentingchallengingkids.com, you can find lots of resources for help, or you can just book a call and we can talk about your situation. Subscribe to these videos and you get help every single week. And but really, seriously, let's